Hello, welcome back to What's Buzzing Breck. A Breck Live podcast. Restart, I forgot. I can't forgot. The podcast that keeps you buzzing with all things Breckenridge County. I'm Briley Smith, and today I'm with Miss Kaitlin Hobbs, a veterinarian from Hardinsburg Animal Clinic, who will be joining me today. How are you doing, Kaitlin?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So let's get right into it. So tell us a little bit about yourselves.
My name's Kaitlin Hobbs. I'm a veterinarian. I work here in town at Hardinsburg Animal Clinic. I am originally from Alabama. I went to college at Auburn, graduated there in 2013, and then moved here after graduation. Took a job at Midway and then met my husband, and the rest is history.
So what made you come to Breckenridge County specifically?
So when I got out of school, I was really wanting to do large animal work, specifically with cattle. So I was just looking for jobs, and the job at Midway was posted, doing quite a bit of cattle work. So I came and interviewed, and they offered me the job.
So, what being away from Alabama, do you like it here in Breckenridge County? Like, is it comforting?
Yes, I've told a lot of people that away from my home, this is my home. It's very similar to where I grew up. The people are very similar, just regular people, just friendly and nice. My husband's family is great, so they have made me feel welcome. I've always said if I was ever to move away from home, this was like coming to a second home. So it's very similar to where I grew up.
I'm glad. So, what certifications do you need to become a vet?
So you have to complete whatever undergraduate work you do. So I have a bachelor's of science in poultry science, so chickens. And then you'll go to 4 years of vet school. So it's just like med school or anything else, 4 years of that professional program. Um, I'm not sure if they still allow this or not, but when I was in school, I actually completed my undergraduate in 3 years instead of 4. So I was only took 7 years instead of the 8. But again, I'm not sure if they still allow that or not.
I don't know if they do either, but chickens. I like chicken. Big fan of chicken.
Me too.
So, what kind of services do you offer at your business?
So we offer mostly small animal services now. We still do some large animal work, cattle, horses, goats, that sort of stuff, but not a lot. We mostly are just in the clinic with small animals. So we offer full surgery, so, spays, neuters, broken bones. We do that sort of stuff, dentistry. Most surgeries, there are a few things I don't do that we would refer out, but most surgeries I do. We offer wellness, shots, deworming, that sort of stuff, sick animals, pretty well a full service. We have an ultrasound machine, we have x-ray, we have in-house blood work, we have a laser for laser therapy, so
Laser
quite a few
therapy.
things. Yes. So you can use it for like if a dog hurts its back and you have a lot of inflammation and pain, so you run this laser over it and it helps get help with the inflammation deep in the tissues. I actually use it on my own neck because I have some herniated discs there.
Vet clinics, if you have muscle pain, apparently.
I mean,
Take notes. So, can you tell us like the structure of the business and how it works with other people you work with, like structure-wise? Like, how do you work with other people?
currently we have 2 veterinarians, myself and Dr. Tall, who's the owner. Then we have 2 receptionists, an office manager, and some technician kennel staff. So typically, our day consists of surgery in the mornings. While me or Dr. Tall or both of us are doing surgery, that's typically the time where like the technicians are taking care of sick animals, things that are in the hospital, doing that type of stuff. And then throughout the day, we start seeing appointments. The afternoons, we mostly just see appointments. But typically, we try to have both of us there, but there are a couple days a week there's only one vet, so We try to structure it where we could be seeing appointments and doing surgeries all at the same time.
What kind of surgeries do you like do on animals? Because that kind of like piqued my interest. Like what like
So we do a lot of spaying and neutering. So,
well,
you know, we don't want unwanted puppies and kittens. I do a lot of those. I do a lot of tumor removals. So we see a lot of cancers and things in dogs and cats. I do a lot of dental cleaning. So cleaning teeth, you know, getting rid of teeth that are bad. Sometimes I do some oddball surgeries, you know, sick dog type things. Amputations. Sometimes when animals break their legs, they can't be fixed unless you send them to like a specialist, and it costs a whole lot of money. So do a fair amount of that sort of stuff.
so I can assume like your customer base is a lot like pet owners and farmers, stuff like that.
Yeah, most of it, most of what we do now are pets. We don't do near as much large animal work anymore. So a lot of it is pets. Yeah.
So how is it easy to work with other businesses and farms, or do you just like
We don't work a lot with other businesses. We have some relationships with the other veterinarians locally. Since COVID, we've had a lot of trouble with things going on back order, things you wouldn't think of. So, you know, we may call and try to order, you know, needles or something that we use a lot, dewormer, and they'll say, oh, that's on back order. And so we may call the other clinics and see, hey, can we borrow this? Do you have any? They may call us. So that has changed a lot with COVID, and I don't know if it'll ever go back. Otherwise, we don't do a lot with other businesses. You know, we have some farmers that come in and, you know, buy vaccines and things like that from us, but that's probably most of
so
it.
you still have back orders to this day from COVID?
They're not still from COVID, but I think they are a product of COVID, yes.
That's still crazy. How,
Yes.
Like how everything's still backward from
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't
things
remember
are.
COVID that well.
I do.
Probably 'cause I was sick and dying in bed for most of it.
Yeah.
But so, what are some challenges you faced coming here and starting out for your business? Like,
Probably the biggest thing for me was being. I was 25 years old when I moved here, so being a 25-year-old female coming to do cattle work, a lot of old farmers didn't know about that at first, so that was a challenge at first. But you know, most all of them, once we met and stuff, now they're still friends of mine. So that was probably the biggest challenge. Like I said earlier, I came by myself, so I wasn't married, no kids. No family here. I didn't know a soul. I just packed up and moved and came here. So, you know, the first few weeks was kind of, it was just odd. You know, you go to work and you're busy all day, but then you leave work and it's like, what do I do? I don't have any friends. I don't know anyone. I don't know where anything's at. So, you know, the first maybe 3 or 4 weeks was kind of odd to me. But then, you know, once I started making friends, meeting people, that really opened up a lot of things for me.
so
Moving
you didn't
forward.
get like homesick at all? Like, you don't miss Alabama?
Well, I moved out when I turned 18, so I haven't lived at home in my parents' house since I was 18. So I moved out, went to college. From college, came here. So, I mean, I still get homesick. I love my family. I talk to my parents at least twice a day, every day.
That's good.
So, you know, I do get homesick, but we are still very, very close. So, you know, and again, my family here is fantastic. So, you know, I don't feel like I'm married in. I feel like I am part of that family. So that really helps a lot.
I think the hardest thing to do when you leave, you know, your home is adjusting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad you're adjusting.
Yeah,
So
me
are
too.
you so back to business wise, are you looking to expand your business at all?
Well, I think that is always a possibility. You know, currently, I don't know if that's really on the radar. We have talked a lot about hiring a third vet just because it's just busy all the time. It used to seem like a lot of times, you know, in the winter months and stuff, we would get a lot slower around Christmas. Now it seems like we're just busy all the time. It used to be that spring and summer were the busiest times, but, you know, now it seems like we're busy all the time. So, there has been some talk about, hiring a third vet to try to take on that extra workload.
So how many people or animals do you think you see a day, like on average?
Oh gosh.
That's a scary. Oh gosh.
I don't know that I could even answer it. Yesterday I was busy from the time I walked in at 8 o'clock until the time I left at 5. I was actually doing a surgery at about 10 till 5 that kind of got squeezed in at the end. We typically see appointments every 15 minutes or so. I'd say just on an average, depending on what we see, because sometimes those appointments are a litter of, 10 puppies, and sometimes it's one dog. But probably on average, I'd say at least 50 animals a day, something of that.
50 animals a day?
Probably somewhere in that
I
range.
can't even imagine 50 animals a day.
It's a busy day.
So, let me look at my paper here. So, are there any challenges that you're facing right now as a vet? Like, or do you think you got everything situated?
Well, for me personally, I don't know that I personally have any challenges. As being a veterinarian as a whole, money is always a challenge. That's probably the hardest part about being a veterinarian is just money. Because where we're striving to provide quality care and services to people, you have to keep that at an affordable cost. But our costs continually go up. Everyone, thinks that, veterinarian clinics are so expensive, but what they don't realize is that we don't mark up products a whole lot because they're sold to us very, very, at a very high cost. So there's always this struggle between trying to provide quality care, but not trying to, but also trying to keep that cost low for our clients. So that's always a struggle.
So how much would it cost to get a checkup on an animal?
So
usually?
our office visit is $45. That gets you in the door, gets an exam, talk about what problems you have, that sort of stuff, and then it just goes from there.
Okay. So what's the most expensive surgery you could get on let's say a dog?
Well, the most expensive kind of stuff would be if you were referred to a specialty clinic, dogs that hurt their back, things like that. Those surgeries end up being between $6,000-7,000.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
That's too many zeros. Okay. How is your work and home life balance? Was it hard to achieve that balance between those two?
Yeah, that's a big struggle for a lot of people. I have been very blessed with my job. For the last several years, I've worked 3 days a week, which gave me a great time to be with my kids. My kids are 7 and 8 right now. So I got to be at home with them quite a bit when they were younger. Now I typically work 4 days a week, which still gives me, a couple days off to be able to, pick my kids up. That's a huge struggle for veterinarians because most veterinarians do not have the schedule I have. I used to work 6-7 days a week. I used to be on call. I worked every holiday. I worked night shift. Those things are not conducive for a good home life. So I am very blessed to be where I'm at, but I've also chosen to do that. And that may come at the, a pay cut or whatever it is. But that's super important. It's important for me. My family is first for me. My job is after them.
I feel like it's a good thing to put family first. So
Oh, yeah.
So you rather have the position you have now instead of a 6 day a week, better paying job as a vet?
Absolutely.
But that's a good answer. Is there a certain part of your job that you enjoy the most?
I like surgery. I enjoy doing surgery a lot.
I was not expecting that answer.
Oh, yeah. I love surgery. It's fun. It's like a puzzle. You just have to figure it out.
Like a puzzle? I feel like that puzzle's pretty crucial if you get something wrong.
Well, try not to get it wrong.
That's a scary puzzle.
Oh, it's fun. No. Surgery's really fun. I enjoy it a lot.
What does this connect to again?
They always tell us in school, when in doubt, cut it out. So I just go by that.
If you're a doctor watching this, do not take that advice.
Oh, they've already heard it. They know.
Do not take that advice. When in doubt, cut it out. Remind me to put down my quote of the day board at home.
Do you want me to be your surgeon? Yes or no?
Do you want an honest answer?
Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I forget where were you. Okay. Let's move on from cut it out when it doubt whatever it's called. My brain is so shut off right now. I can't comprehend anything. Have you ever considered starting your own vet clinic at all?
Yeah, there have been a couple of times that I have considered that, like changing jobs. So I've been at a couple different jobs, and always in between those, I think, well, is this the time I should start my own job? But to be honest, I don't want to.
No.
I enjoy doing what I do. It's nice to be the associate veterinarian, so you don't have to have all of the responsibility, but you still have a responsible job.
Still have the freedom to cut it out when in
Yes.
doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Still cut
Okay.
it out.
I can't get over that. That's funny. I'm gonna keep saying that. When in doubt, cut
It's
it
your
out.
new slogan.
My third career is a doctor, and that's gonna be my slogan. Don't make me a doctor. Is there anything else you would like to tell us?
I guess for anyone who's interested in being a veterinarian, my advice is always the same. Get in some vet clinics, whether that's volunteering, whether that's cleaning the kennels, it's working as a paid position. Get in multiple vet clinics, because you will find out really quickly if you actually want to be there or not. It is a huge time commitment, and it is a huge financial commitment to go to vet school. It's not something that you want to take lightly and, get halfway through and they go, man, this is not for me. The experience will tell you. Most people know pretty quickly if they can handle the job, if they, there's a lot of smells, there's a lot of things you might not want to see. It's not all puppies and kittens. So, my advice is always that. Get in some vet clinics and really see if that's something you're interested
So
in.
I'm assuming like all medical schools, it was expensive to get
Yes.
to go through 8
Yes.
years.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, this is a personal question I have to ask, and
Okay.
this has been driving me nuts. What's the most strangest animal you worked with?
Strangest animal. When I was in vet school, we worked at the zoo, and there was
Oh,
a
I love
giraffe with a broken leg. And the vet, they had already put the cast on it when I went on my rotation. And so the vet was like, do you want to cut its cast off? I'm like, yeah, I want to cut its cast off. So I got to use the saw and cut this enormous cast that's like this long off a giraffe. So that was really neat.
I like giraffes. They're probably my
Yeah.
favorite animal. Though I can't say giraffe in a sentence. I say giraffe.
Giraffe.
Giraffe. That's all the questions I have personally. Everything she said was hilarious. Come on, there's gonna be one question out there.
Well, and as far as time wise, a lot of that is the same. You're talking about a large, like we took 24 credit hours per semester, which is a tremendous amount. They only let you take like 16 or 18 in undergrad. So the workload is enormous in both of those. Probably the biggest difference in like human med school versus vet school is we learn multiple species. So where, human medicine, we're focusing on humans and human anatomy. We're talking about cats, dogs, which are not the same. Cats are not just small dogs. Goats and sheep are different than cows. Horses are different than everything. And then you move into like birds of prey, raptors, eagles, those type things. You move into reptiles. It just goes on and on and on. So I think the actual amount is probably worse in vet school than med school.
Was being like when you did you decide to become a vet as your first job option, or was it something you picked up later?
No, when I was probably 5 years old, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. Like I said, I grew up on a farm, so I've always been around animals. Um, my family actually owned and operated a meat processing plant, so I've kind of been around a lot of things my whole life. My granddad did most all of his own vet work, so I always helped him with things. So he was probably a big influence in that. But no, I've always known, and I've always known that I was going to be a vet. I've always known I was going to Auburn. There was no second choice. That's what I was going to do.
Okay, so you decided to become a vet.
Yeah.
Okay. I think being a vet would be fun if I wasn't terrified of cows.
Well, you don't have to work with cows.
Listen, like animals scare me sometimes. Like certain animals do. Dogs don't like me.
Well, then maybe you shouldn't be a vet.
Listen, you can show me the nicest dog, it'll like growl and bark at me. Like, what did I do to it?
Yeah, it is a fun job. There are days that are very stressful. There are days that are very long, but as a whole, I enjoy what I do. If you can find a job that you enjoy what you do, there's always going to be bad days. It doesn't matter what you're doing, but if you can find a job that you enjoy and make a career out of that, I think that's the goal.
My career is going to involve animals too.
Yeah.
It's called culinary.
I like that. I like that.
You know, I like animals. Have you ever had to do a surgery on a fish?
No fish
Okay.
surgeries.
I've seen that somewhere before. A vet did a surgery on a fish. I'm like, how's that?
Yeah, I think there's people that do it, but I don't do any fish surgeries.
Any other questions for Miss Kaitlin Hobbs?
Well, sometimes just the best you can. So luckily we don't see a ton of really aggressive animals. Most of the time they're scared. Occasionally you will get some that truly are aggressive. In those instances, we have safety measures that we try to use. Sometimes that's like a rabies pole, which is a long stick with a leash on the end of it, so you can get a hold of them away from you. Luckily for me, being a veterinarian, if we can ever get a hold of something, I can sedate them. So, if you have something that's really aggressive, we have some, medical ways to deal with that. But, sometimes if you look close, I have a big scar on my cheek from a dog that bit me last year. So, sometimes there are things that just happen. But shockingly, I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've been, like, actually hurt. Not just like a little scratch or something, but actually hurt. And that's part of working with really good people who are trained well. The techs that I have, they know how to restrain animals. They know how to approach animals in a way to try to keep everyone safe. So, the people you have around you is probably the most important. And that kind of just depends on what the circumstances are. So, like with this, I actually went to the doctor because I had to have some, like, it had to be put back together. And so you have to fill out, it has to be reported to the health department for rabies concerns. This dog I've known him since he was a puppy. So he was up to date on vaccines. Where you get into kind of a hairy situation is if you're talking about like stray animals or animals that are not up to date on vaccines. Some of those animals end up being put to sleep and tested for rabies, things like that. Most of the animals I see are pets that are up to date on shots, so it's not a big concern.
So do you think like fear with the animal causes a little bit of aggression with them? Like they're like,
Yeah.
like they don't know the situation and they just
Yes.
start cats do that. I've seen
Yeah.
that before.
A lot of animals aren't bad animals. Occasionally I will see some dogs that I think, man, this dog is bad, or it is just a bad dog. But most of them are just scared. You come in, there's weird smells, there's other dogs barking, there's new people. I'm poking you with a needle. There's weird things going on, and some dogs just get scared, and then out of fear they bite. Most of them are not truly bad dogs.
I think being a vet is fun. I think if you like working with animals, I think a vet is a good career to go with.
Yeah.
So that's all I have. Well, I just want to thank you, Miss Hobbs, for coming in and speaking with us, telling us about your career.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you next time.